Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 398 based on novel. So let's start. The monster Quayo didn't know any techniques. All it had was speed and strength. When one's strength was strong enough, laws would back down. Quayo was an example of this. His fist could easily twist space and time, and turning it into a gleaming beam of light. This light could easily annihilate an entire solar system with a simple ripple. A huge golden claw scratched the fist. It's stronger. Luo Feng turned his body. He followed the strength, yet he couldn't walk straight. He hit the wall like a phantom, and the shockwave from his godly body immediately penetrated the wall. The foot slammed into Luo Feng's chest and pressed him against the wall. The great shockwave made him tremble. Luo Feng clenched his teeth and tried to run away. At the same time, the godly power from his golden horned beast body was transferred into the original earthling body to make it back to the best situation. This monster Quayo's power is surging too fast. It's approaching the 6th level. Luo Feng felt helpless. He could only reach the 4th level with the help of Crazy Demon Extermination Godly Armor, and he could barely fight a 5th level Universe Master. However, the monster Quayo was more terrific than 5 Chaos Master. He was being crushed. It consumed 8% of my godly body in such a short time. I can't let this go on anymore. Luo Feng turned his head and roared. Quayo roared and rushed to right in front of him. A glowing white wing showed up, and under the strong godly power, a golden glow permeated. The light covered an area of nearly 1,000,000 square kilometers. The powerful binding power slowed Quayo. Luo Feng's wing trembled, and he retreated. Duandong River only indicated that we can't use palace-type true treasures. Luo Feng opened Silver Wing. His excitement was building. Shawu, we haven't fought together for a long time. Howl. The monster Quayo was furious. Its roar twisted space, and the shockwave slammed into Luo Feng. But he didn't move at all. The shockwave dissipated. The monster Quayo dashed at Luo Feng again. With Shawu Wing, I'm not so easy to mess with. Luo Feng's silver wing trembled, and his body started to look bizarre. He started to fight the monster Quayo in close quarters. With the help of Golden Country, his most powerful technique, Extermination God, could reach the 5th level. This made him nearly on par with Quayo. They fought closely again. The monster Quayo charged recklessly, but Luo Feng produced many phantoms. Luo Feng bounced away with the 4 wings covering his body. His power is still surging? Top of the 6th level? Or a Universe Supreme Master? Luo Feng couldn't tell anymore, but he could sense that Golden Country's influence on Quayo was withering away. Quayo's power frightened Luo Feng. He was being crushed. Even though Quayo was bound by Golden Country, he was still much stronger than Luo Feng. Luo Feng was hit in the chest before he could dodge the attacks. The power of Quayo horrified him so much that he needed Shawu Wing just to protect himself. He couldn't resist it, but he couldn't run away either. Luo Feng was like a sandbag being kicked and punched by Quayo. Against Quayo, Golden Country was as negligible as thin air. He must be as powerful as a Universe Supreme Master now, muttered Luo Feng. Even Universe Supreme Masters need true treasures to wield such power, yet he's using his bare body. Luo Feng covered his body with the silver wing. I may be killed. Should I get into Star Tower? He wondered. Star Tower can definitely resist the attacks, but I'll be eliminated if I enter. I have to stand it, he decided. Withstand it. Withstand it. Just when Luo Feng was rendered in agony and being kicked, beaten, and smashed, Quayo suddenly stopped. Luo Feng looked at Quayo, confused. He was floating in the sky. Why did he stop? The monster Quayo sat down and closed its eyes. You've passed this round. Continue. It was the voice of Duandong River. Luo Feng was relieved. Finally, he passed this round. He looked at the monster Quayo who was lying there, not moving, then flew forward. After a short while, he saw a door. As Luo Feng flew closer, the door closed immediately. Huh? Luo Feng saw 3 shadows. You survived? Sorcerer Sprite Master was surprised. Shadow Dust Master sneered. Milky Way Horde Leader, you survived that monster all by yourself? I do admire that, Dear Bug Master said with a smile. It seemed that Golden Square Master and Liu Ju Master were the ones who had died. Luo Feng hadn't expected a plant life form like Liu Ju Master to die. Why did two of you die? Luo Feng was shocked. That monster is not that powerful. Shadow Dust Master sneered. The one you met is not that powerful. If you met one like the one we met, you would have died. How did you meet him? Luo Feng couldn't help asking them. Dear Bugmaster said, the monster Quayo we met was not very powerful at the start. However, as the fight went on, it grew stronger and stronger. Its power reached that of a Universe Supreme Master in no time, and it kept surging. It might be more powerful than all the Universe Supreme Masters I've ever seen. One punch from it did major damage to our bodies, exclaimed Dear Bugmaster. Liu Ju Master wasn't able to dodge it, so he was killed instantly. He didn't even have a chance to take out his palace-type true treasure to save his life. As for Golden Square Master, he died as well, as he didn't cooperate well with Shadow and Sorcerer. Fortunately, it stopped soon after. Otherwise, Shadow and Sorcerer would have died as well. Shadow Dust and Sorcerer Sprite sneered. Luo Feng was shocked. Something was wrong. The monster Quayo they met was more powerful than the one he had met. The monster had started with the power of a 4th-level Universe Master. On the contrary, Quayo had only started with the power of a Senior Universe Knight when it met him. And it had stopped when it reached the power of a Universe Supreme Master. A figure appeared. It was Duandong River. You are the only 4 left, he said. Dear Bugmaster, Luo Feng, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master all gazed at him. Duandong River said coldly. That was only a small test, yet 2 of you died. That's only a part of the corridor. You need to arrive at the next hall to receive the inheritance. Keep moving. Duandong River pointed to the front. It appeared there was still a long way to go. They were all terrified. That had only been a part of it. Their only choice was to keep going. They flew carefully, moving more slowly. Luo Feng frowned. In the virtual universe, in front of Huge Axe Godly Palace, Luo Feng appeared. There were Universe Masters sitting beside the stone table. Huge Axe glanced at him. Luo Feng. Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City leader said. We just got the news from the skeleton race about Duandong River from the First Universe era. We hear that you are one of the 6 seeking the Duandong River inheritance. What is it about Duandong River? Asked Huge Axe creator. The other great beings all looked at Luo Feng, anxious. Although they had received the news from the skeleton race, they didn't know much about it. I'll show you all. Luo Feng pointed to the sky and shared all his memories, from flying into Boat of Mausoleum to seeing Duandong River in the control room of Boat of Mausoleum to assessing the Magicube instrument, to fighting the monster Quayo. He played all of them, but he cut out the part where he performed Shawu Wing. The great beings all went silent. Luo Feng nodded. So, this is the case. The Duandong River Wu inheritance is an inheritance of an ancient civilization. It's a great opportunity, but it's also extremely dangerous. There will only be one inheritor. And we might all fail. Although this is only the beginning start, there are only 4 of us left. This is an opportunity for us humans. I need to take it. Luo Feng looked at Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader. Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader both nodded. He was right. Both Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader knew that Luo Feng was most suitable for this. Luo Feng was a Universe Knight, so he could be revived if he died. Although he might lose some true treasures, his law comprehension, techniques, and willpower would still be there, so his power could be recovered quickly. Luo Feng, try to get the inheritance, said Huge Axe. Don't be distracted by us. If we have arrangements for you, we'll notify you. Okay. Luo Feng nodded and disappeared. At the same time, the news also spread to Purple Moon Holy Land, East Emperor Holy Land, and the other powers from all the 3 universe eras. Now, things would only get crazier. Within the vast universe ocean, only the 2 Holy Land universes, namely Purple Moon Holy Land Universe and East Emperor Holy Land Universe, were able to transcend and survive through the reincarnation era. Yet speaking of the longest history, strongest power, deepest foundation, naturally, the winner was the East Emperor Holy Land Universe, which had existed up until now, was still an unknown figure to all. Within the East Emperor Holy Land Universe, there was the endless godly sector, a place where 90% of the entire Holy Land universe's undying godly spirits, 99% of its universe knights, all its universe masters, and all its universe supreme masters gathered. The entire place was beautiful and magnificent, peaceful and tranquil. There were countless buildings of different cultural styles, and various rare flowers and plants could be found everywhere. In the middle of endless godly sector, there was a towering green tree that connected everything within the whole godly sector and was constantly transmitting sounds out in a multidirectional manner to spread the news to all parts of the godly sector. This big tree was ancient and deep green. It was very upright and towering, and all around it, there were many vines that were like jade carvings. When the wind blew, the tree gently swayed along, giving out intermittent bouts of soul-captivating voices. Many figures were currently seated cross-legged under this ancient tree. At one glance, there was seemingly no end to the sea of people. Boom! With a sudden jolt, the entire big tree radiated a dazzling cyan light. Boom! Then the cyan light was transformed into an endless red light. Boom! The towering tree went on to emit an endless black light. Boom! It was transformed into endless blue light. Boom! Last of all was a dazzling golden light. Thereafter, the entire ancient tree was encircled by layers of apertures, 5 layers to be exact, so dazzling and resplendent that at that point in time, the entire endless godly sector could see the tree in this glorious state. Ancestor Tree. Ancestor Tree has shown its 5-colored light halo. Ancestor will make his appearance soon. Ancestor will make his appearance soon. Ancestor. The moment the numerous godly spirits, undying fighters, universe knights, and even universe masters, who were all originally seated cross-legged under the towering, ancient trees, saw the 5-colored light halo surging out from the ancestor tree where they were all enveloped in a surrounding so dense with airflow, they were all shocked and excited. There were even some undying godly spirits who immediately burst into loud sobs while others fell to their knees trembling in excitement. Ancestor. East Emperor Holy Land Universe, an existence that had been around for an eternity. Ancestor, East Emperor, was the supreme being of all living souls within the whole of East Emperor Holy Land Universe. Yet, throughout the endless years that passed, Ancestor East Emperor was practically non-existent, as he almost never appeared. Even many universe masters who lived through many rounds of reincarnations had never seen him in person before. Not to mention the world out of Universe Ocean. Beyond Universe Ocean, not a single great being had ever met this ancestor of the 2 Holy Land universes. This was why Ancestor was known as the first great being of Universe Ocean. However, when compared with the ancestor of the 2 Holy Land universes who had long transcended reincarnation, Ancestor East Emperor was still a notch lower. Yet even within the 2 Holy Land universes, it was extremely difficult for them to catch a glimpse of their own ancestors. Even for this ancient East Emperor to make an appearance, the chances were so slim that it was pathetic, and every time he made an appearance, the ancestor tree would display this 5-colored light halo. Ancestor is going to appear soon. Ancestor. Even all the universe masters in their own palaces were shocked and excited. From birth until today, I have lived through a total of 82 reincarnation eras, but not once have I met Ancestor. Ancestor is finally going to appear. A universe master was so excited that he forgot all about his disciples and teleported himself right away to where Ancestor Tree was. The last time I met Ancestor was 119 reincarnation eras ago. Ancestor has appeared. Craziness. All of endless godly sector seemed to have fallen into a crazy state. This was the heart of the most ancient Holy Land universe, the very core of their pride. So proud of it were they that they vaguely started to look down on Purple Moon Holy Land universe. And from the size of a Holy Land universe, one could also tell their East Emperor ancestor was much more powerful than the Purple Moon ancestor. It was an absolute pride, and they highly regarded East Emperor ancestor with utmost admiration. Numerous streams of light appeared and gathered at the bottom of Ancestor Tree. Countless great beings floated in midair. Those who dared float in midair were at least universe masters or universe supreme masters. At one glance close to 1,000 beings were in midair, scattered all around Ancestor Tree. Each and every one was silently waiting, in full deference, for their almighty ancestor. An inexplicable voice suddenly sounded loudly. Every great being present was intoxicated by this sound, including the few universe supreme masters. Amidst a strange music, an immensely dazzling figure appeared out of thin air, high up in the sky. It wore a robe that was covered with countless green branches and leaves, and the robe was radiating an intensely hazy cyan light that was rich in vigor and life. The intense cyan-green light shone upon and enveloped the hundreds of millions of great beings waiting and kneeling beneath it, comforting them all. Instantly, those whose injured godly bodies were damaged were completely healed. All the living souls, regardless of whether they were undying or universe supreme masters, gave him their full attention. Then, respectfully, they all shouted in unison, "Ancestor." There was total silence as all the living souls looked up at Ancestor East Emperor with burning gazes. East Emperor looked down at them all. His entire body was bathed in the intense cyan light that seemed to obscure him from clarity. Even the few Universe Supreme Masters and few hundred Universe Masters could feel a supremely oppressive force come over them, albeit an invisible one. I heard that within the universe boat of the three most dangerous lands in the universe ocean, there has been the birth of an inheritance. This is the inheritance of Duan Dong River Wu, is this true? East Emperor slowly articulated his question. Several hundreds of Universe Masters and Universe Supreme Masters respectfully replied in unison, yes. The news had only reached them a short while ago. There was no way anything that happened within the Holy Land universe could be hidden from East Emperor. This Duan Dong River Wu's inheritance is a top-notch inheritance within that powerful ancient civilization. East Emperor said, "My life. North True Star Master, you shall personally lead a team of 20 Universe Masters, 200 Universe Knights, and 2,000 Undying Fighters and head for that universe boat at the fastest speed possible. Send every member of the team in to fight for that inheritance." Yes, a man in a white robe immediately replied with deference. North True Star Master was an extremely ancient being, and he was a Universe Supreme Master. Of course, his status of a Universe Supreme Master had been attained as early as when he was in the Primal Universe era. He existed in the same era as East Emperor. Yet his miniature universe had fallen into a state of decadence a long time ago, so he was based in the Holy Land universe for daily life. Are there any volunteers? East Emperor looked down. The inheritance can only have one heir. The rest who fail to be the chosen one will be at risk of annihilation. I'm willing. Willing. I'm willing to go. Willing. Almost instantaneously, from the sea of great beings kneeling on the ground, a large number of Universe Knights and undying godly spirits volunteered. As for the Universe Masters in midair, a dozen of them shouted out their willingness. Their number was much smaller because they were, after all, a minority group within the Holy Land universe. Let's leave it to the elders to discuss and finalize a detailed list of names. East Emperor looked down and slowly added, "We must finalize the list as fast as we can, so that we can head for the universe boat as quickly as possible. With a force of 20 Universe Masters, 200 Universe Knights, and 2,000 Undying Fighters, we are going for that Duan Dong River's inheritance. My East Emperor universe must obtain that inheritance. I need that inheritance." Yes, all said in unison, in one voice filled with excitement. East Emperor needed it? This instantly drove the countless great beings beneath him into a feverish state of enthusiasm. It was merely a short moment, just enough for a cup of tea. North True Star Master was on board a dazzling, polygonal black sphere and was advancing at high speed within the Universe Ocean. I have not set foot in Universe Ocean for a good dozen reincarnation eras. Since I am making my appearance now, I shall make sure that I seize this inheritance for East Emperor Universe. On the same day, when the news reached Purple Moon Holy Land Universe, the equally mysterious Purple Moon Ancestor also made an appearance at long last. He too gave orders to his clan to necessitate the need to obtain that Duan Dong River's inheritance. Understood. Understood, Ancestor. This inheritance must belong to us, the Purple Moon Holy Land. Dear Bug Master is already there. We have the greatest advantage. Let's go. According to Ancestor's order, 1,500 Undying Fighters, 150 Knights, and 15 Universe Masters shall rush over as fast as possible. Universe Supreme Masters will be able to rush over there quickly, as their speeds are naturally extremely fast. The two Holy Land universes of the Divine Eye clan were very similar in strength of power. When compared with one another, the result was all the crazier. The avatars of the 7 true Masters gathered. This is our only chance. Doomsday is nearing. We must seize this Duan Dong River's inheritance. The previous complete inheritance that we have obtained when compared to Duan Dong Rivers. Obviously, there is a vast difference in status. And from what Shadow Dust and Sorcerer Sprite reported, even after Duan Dong River's annihilation, the methods he had put into motion after all these years to seek an heir were intimidating and frightening. We can tell a thing or two about how powerful his inheritance will be. I suspect that the inheritance is not restricted to only Universe Masters. It is likely that even Universe Knights and Universe Supreme Masters can be potential heirs. The avatars of the 7 true Masters gathered in the void space to discuss with one another. I'm willing to go, 7th True Master spoke up. Even if I were to meet with any danger, I have my Palace Supreme True Treasure. Besides, I am a Universe Supreme Master. I don't believe that the Duandong River who was annihilated endless reincarnation eras ago is able to leave behind a method so deadly that it can kill me. I will go with 7th. First True Master nodded slowly. Instantly, there was an uproar. First True Master. Teacher. First True Master, how can you be the one going? If all of us should fail, the mission of transcending a reincarnation era has to depend on you. Divine Eye, do not be so reckless. First True Master was the most powerful great being of the entire Divine Eye clan. If he were to take the risk and be annihilated in the process, the clan would be in deep trouble. Speaking of power, I am one notch lower than Ancestor. Even if I were to compare with Huge Axe Creator, I might, at most, be on paragraph. First True Master sighed. But to achieve a breakthrough of a reincarnation era. For countless reincarnation eras, only the ancestors of the 2 Holy Land universes were able to succeed. I cannot even surpass Ancestor, nor Huge Axe Creator. Who am I to even think I can succeed in transcending a reincarnation era? It's just too difficult. This time around, I'm afraid it would be our Divine Eye clan's very last chance. Regardless, Divine Eye, you cannot be so reckless. I will go with 7th. We just need to deploy more Universe Masters and Universe Knights. Yes, 2nd and 7th. We shall place all hopes on you both. Soon, all arrangements were properly in place. The Divine Eye clan had sent 2nd True Master and 7th True Master, and with them, they lead a team of 20 Universe Masters and 100 Universe Knights in their quest for the inheritance, headed for the Universe Boat. To the Divine Eye clan, this had become a desperate fight arising from jealousy over whose clan was more superior. Groups of powers were indeed going crazy for the inheritance, especially the first reincarnation era, as they were originally in the face of impending doomsday. The second reincarnation era and primal universe were also coveting it. This was probably what the line, "A man who does not have foresight will find worry right at his doorstep," meant. This so-called Duandong River's inheritance, if they were to miss it this time, would likely not reappear again for at least the next few reincarnation eras. If the various groups of powers knew that the ancestors of the 2 Holy Land universes had made appearances just to give orders for this inheritance, it would probably drive nearly 100 groups of powers from the 3 great reincarnation eras into an even higher state of fervor. The outside world was wild with enthusiasm, but inside the life and death corridor within the boat of Mausoleum, silence prevailed. Deer Bug Master, Luo Feng, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master were carefully flying along the corridor at a reduced speed. By the time Luo Feng received news from his race, Deer Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master had already learned of it much earlier. This went to show the great importance the races and clans attached to this event. Purple Moon Ancestor had shown up to have a face-to-face conversation with Deer Bug Master's body personally. How honorable was that? At that moment, Deer Bug Master had the highest probability of becoming the greatest hero of Purple Moon Holy Land universe. The 7 True Masters had earnestly implored Shadow Dust Master and Sorcerer Sprite Master to do their utmost best, with the promise that 2nd True Master and 7th True Master would lead a big team of Universe Masters to render support. All out. We shall go all out for the slightest chance for survival. Shadow Witch couple went berserk. Deer Bug Master was also going crazy from the glory he was basking in. Purple Moon Ancestor has made a personal appearance. This might be the most glorious moment of my life. I must do my very best. Luo Feng, meanwhile, was feeling a magnanimous amount of passion. The human race is weaker, the number of great beings is limited. I cannot compare with any of them in terms of headcount. So I shall depend on myself, Luo Feng, and my own capability. The 4 great beings flew together. Occasionally, their gazes would meet, and their eyes were filled with enmity. As they flew ahead, the corridor started to widen, and the surroundings started to get brighter. Gradually, stone pillars started to appear on either side of the corridor. On every stone pillar, there were virtual shadows of different forms. There could be square shadows, or pyramidal shadows, or polygonal shadows. In short, every stone pillar would have one virtual shadow. Those on the left side of the corridor had shadows that were compacted together, and within these shadows, there were 1,000 different kinds of ripples. The stone pillars on the right side of the corridor had shadows that were loosely scattered and, thus, were just barely able to form a skeletal frame. On the left, there was a total of 123 stone pillars. On the right, there was a total of 10,080 stone pillars. What? While flying, Luo Feng, Deer Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master wore expressions filled with doubts. They flew slowly, and along the way, they also carefully observed the three-dimensional virtual shadows on the stone pillars. These three-dimensional virtual shadows were all immensely huge, and within them, there were innumerable ripples. The three-dimensional virtual shadows on 123 stone pillars on the left side corresponded nicely to the three-dimensional virtual shadows on the first 123 stone pillars on the right. On the left, the three-dimensional virtual shadows were compact and complete, they were well-structured, like the Great Wall of China. The three-dimensional virtual shadows on the right, however, only had a skeletal frame, as though many bricks of the Great Wall had been being taken out, causing the entire structure to become so shaky that it seemed as though it would fall apart. Every three-dimensional virtual shadow had a variety of colors, emitting thousands of light rays. At that moment, the inside of the entire corridor was so dazzlingly beautiful that it looked like paradise. The foursome, including Luo Feng, advanced together and soon arrived at the end, the area in front of the 10,080th stone pillar on the right. All the light had gathered to give form to a figure, and that figure was Duandong River. Shadow Dust Master and Sorcerer Sprite Master were the first to bow and pay their respects. "My lord." This prompted Deer Bug Master and Luo Feng to also bow in respect. Yet Duandong River did not pay attention to the surroundings. His gaze fell upon the various three-dimensional virtual shadows that were held down by the numerous stone pillars. Then, with a sigh, he asked, "Do you all see it?" Shadow Dust Master was the first to reply. "My lord, there is a total of 123 three-dimensional virtual shadows on the left, and a total of 10,080 three-dimensional virtual shadows on the right. Between both sides, the stone pillars on the left are perfect without flaws. It seems like they contain certain mysteries about secret techniques within them. However, those on the right are all imperfect." Deer Bug Master added, "The first 123 virtual shadows on the right happen to correspond with the 123 virtual shadows on the left." "That's right," Duandong River said, looking at those dazzling three-dimensional virtual shadows that were radiating millions of light rays. Tears welled in his eyes, blurring his vision as he whispered, "This is my hometown, and this was the most popular form of entertainment during the time of my civilization. It is also a method for cultivating and training comprehension. Any major group or power, unique inheritance, and several others would frequently utilize it when they needed to test the comprehension capability of their candidates for various purposes. This was called Rhinoceros Emperor Game." "Rhinoceros Emperor Game?" Luo Feng, Deer Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master all listened intently. Rhinoceros Emperor Game was created by an ancient, strong being, Rhinoceros Emperor, before he was annihilated. He had put his best effort into creating it. Rhinoceros Emperor's entire lifetime can be said to be sorrowful. He was a true hero, but in the end. Nevertheless, Rhinoceros Emperor Game was remembered by all the great beings of my civilization. Of course, his powers were much stronger than mine. After he was annihilated, this Rhinoceros Emperor Game was spread to the masses. In the early stage, countless great beings merely took it as a form of entertainment. Later, they discovered that it was extremely demanding on comprehension level. And often, studying the Rhinoceros Emperor Game was beneficial in increasing one's comprehension level. In our civilization, be it someone as young as a child just born, or someone as high up as a supreme existence, all enjoyed this game. For Emperor Rhinoceros Game, continued Duandong River, there is a total of 10,081 types of basic endgames. The right side has a total of 10,080 endgames. As for the so-called 10,081st endgame, it is the scoreless game. And on the left side will be the perfectly decoded games. Once you have supplemented the first 123 endgames and have brought them to completion, you will find the solution to the game. All four of them, including Luo Feng, nodded their heads to indicate understanding. "Study the first 123 decoding methods," Duandong River said. "You should be able to find out its basic secret rules. If you can't even comprehend the basic secret rules, then your comprehension level is much too low. Once you have completed comprehension of the basic rules, you can proceed to decoding. Solve the first 124 endgames on the left. When you reach the 125th endgame, you will be able to find the solution. I will give you all a longer time." Just do your best in decoding for a solution. Once the time limit is up, if you cannot even meet my most basic requirements, you will be eliminated. Of course, in this round of elimination, you will certainly face annihilation. Luo Feng and the other three were taken aback. Annihilation? Of course, you all have yet to truly come in contact with the inheritance, Duandong River said. Only after you have decoded the game up to a level that meets my minimum requirement and arrive at the next big hall, that is when you can start to get in contact with the inheritance. If you have yet to come into contact with the inheritance, then of course, there is no need for total elimination of the soul. Even if you are to be annihilated, it will just be your current godly bodies that will be destroyed. If you all have other bodies, you still survive. Duandong River informed them of all this in a straightforward manner. However, he added, the moment you all start to get into contact with the inheritance, as there can only be one possible heir, the rest of you will be facing complete annihilation of the soul. Look ahead. Duandong River pointed afar, then commanded, rise. The ground in the middle of the corridor started to vibrate, the ground started to crack apart. At that moment, 4 light pillars radiating colorful light emerged. These 4 pillars belong to 4 of you. Duandong River looked toward Luo Feng, Dear Bug Master, and the other 2 great beings. Once you all have comprehended the secret rules, you can start decoding the game up till the 124th stage. When you have completed the game, use your godly power to draw an outline and transmit it within this crystal pillar. If the decoding is successful, the crystal pillar will prompt you. If the decoding is not successful, the crystal pillar will not show any reaction. Go now. You may have a long time, but it is limited. Within a limited time, whoever can decode up to 6,000 stone pillars will receive the inheritance from one pulse of my Duandong River. Of course, to be able to decode 6,000 of them, this person is bound to have a bright future, and the success achievable may be even greater than mine. But I guess that none of you here will be able to achieve that yet. Just try to meet the basic requirement within the limited time for now. The one who can decode the most at the end will gain the upper hand when it comes to the inheritance. Duandong River's gaze swept across the 4 of them, including Luo Feng. Then he vanished into thin air. Duandong River disappeared, and in this spacious corridor, there were 123 three-dimensional virtual shadows on the left and 10,083 three-dimensional virtual shadows on the right. Luo Feng, Dear Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, and Sorcerer Sprite Master all felt an intangible pressure. Game? Entertainment? Shadow Dust Master whispered. I can't believe Duandong River has chosen us only to use this game from his ancient civilization to test us. You fool, Dear Bug Master said in a cold voice. You really take this as a game? Weren't you listening? That ancient civilization, from the younger generations to the supreme masters, almost everyone liked this Rhinoceros Emperor game. Besides, so long as we are able to decode the game up to the 6,000th stage, we may be destined for achievements that were greater than that of Duandong River Wu. That would be the same as saying that breaking through reincarnation eras will be an easy feat. The hearts of Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Luo Feng burned with passion. Breaking through a reincarnation era. Enabling one's own clan to attain eternal existence. There was no other greater glory that one could ever ask for. Let my human race exist for eternity, Luo Feng hoped silently. Dear Bug Master shared the same fervent wish. Purple Moon Ancestor regards this with such importance. He has long ago transcended the reincarnation eras, and his power was incomparably powerful. If he holds this inheritance in such high regard, then this inheritance is apparently extremely important. I would like to see this so-called Rhinoceros Emperor game for myself and find out just how impressive it is. I don't believe that I am unable to decode the game up to the 6,000th level. The hearts of the great beings burned with passion. Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Dear Bug Master were self-proclaimed universe masters. Their conscious minds were able to revolve at extreme speeds, and that was extremely scary, as in a mere second, there could be countless thoughts racing through their minds. Naturally, they had what it took to gain the upper hand in the game. Luo Feng did not lose out to them in mastering the game. I am extremely accomplished in the decoding diagrams of secret engravings, Luo Feng said to himself. This diagram of secret engravings and the Rhinoceros Emperor game are both three-dimensional, so simply at one look, one can see the various secret engravings. These two have a common point, and even though I left the space of the black-striped stone pillars many hundreds of years ago, my consciousness has remained with the black-striped stone pillars to work on my comprehension of the laws and studying the secret engravings. With a time velocity that was faster by 3,000 times, my achievement in the studies of secret engravings is now much higher than before. Purple Moon Holy Land Universe. Ancestor. Dear Bugmaster's other body looked up at the vast sky. Respectfully, he said, I am comprehending a method of the ancient civilization used for testing levels of comprehension, Rhinoceros Emperor game. I will need to decode enough stages within a limited period of time, so now, what I need is a space where time velocity is extremely fast. Purple Moon Ancestor knew everything that happened within the Holy Land universe. Rhinoceros Emperor game, said a gentle voice. I know that game. It is very difficult and profound. You must give your best. I will send this body of yours to Circle of Time, where time velocity can be maintained at 10,000 times. Your true body will stay here in Universe Boat to observe while your consciousness can remain in the Circle of Time to continue comprehending. Sorcerer Sprite Master and Shadow Dust Master also went to plead with First True Master. Within the miniature universe, a part of space where time velocity was extremely fast could also be set up. That was where their other bodies were planted. Once he learned of the situation Luophone was caught in, Primal Chaos City Leader could not be bothered about anything else. Hurry. Your remote ocean body has to head for Huge Axe Creator's miniature universe as fast as possible. Teacher Origin has been suppressed for eternity. This has prevented the primal universe from maintaining a perfect rate of acceleration. In Huge Axe's miniature universe, space can be set up to allow you to maintain an acceleration rate of 10,000 times. Primal Chaos City Leader personally retrieved Luophone's new remote ocean body and headed for Huge Axe Creator's universe. This video will end here.